But too many people, and lawyers included, when they're getting a default, they just do this basic prove up. No, you prove your whole case. You have the trial. You take your time. Some people think, oh, it's a default. It's just like going in and doing an agreement. It's not. An agreement you can do in 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Being a rapper, probably getting paid under the table. And then, if he's dealing drugs or whatever.
Well, here's him on internet flashing all this money, and based on that photo, I can tell there's $10,000 there, and he said he made it that day. So with the captions, that's a statement. That's hearsay, but he's not there to object to it.
Right.
And because it's an admission against a party opponent.
Right.
He admitted it himself in that caption. That can be used against him.
Whatever your income is, and from whatever source, and however consistent it is, it's all included in a child support calculations. One thing with child support is the state is going to make you pay no matter what. No.
Exactly. It's the most collectible thing in Texas that there is.
And you will go to jail.
They can put you in jail. That's the debtor's prison is for child support. The other thing that you can do is you can start subpoenaing him and other people around him, his manager. You can subpoena and get his bank statements if there are any. You can hire a detective to follow him and watch and see if he gets paid. There's a number of different ways that you can do this to figure out how much money he's actually got. All right, we're going to do another one with my friend, Judge Vonda Bailey. Here we go.
Miss Mercy, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
Yes, so my baby daddy is just not doing his part.
That happens.
Taking care of our twins. It's been 2 years, and it's just getting really hard by myself and trying to maintain my career and everything as well.
Difficult.
You said twins. Are these boys, girls?
A boy and a girl, Rolls and Royce.
Okay.
Rolls and Royce.
The boy's name?
He's Rolls.
Rose. Okay. Let's make sure I get it. And Royce is the girl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Royce.
I know a guy named Royce. I would have thought Rolls would have been, although I don't know if you want to have a girl named Rolls. I don't know.
This is actually a
She better not be overweight.
Oh, gosh.
cute name for a girl. All right. So he's not contributing. He's
Is that like a boy named Sue?
Yeah, exactly.
not involved. How did the two of
Or a guy named Dana, boy named Dana? It's not fun in 8th grade with the name Dana.
you get together?
I like it now. But
I was actually at an after party for a concert, and he was a performing artist. A couple.
she's a groupie, and she's wondering why he's not around
You
anymore.
know, after a couple of drinks.
Yeah, we know.
And, I became more social.
Oh, more social, huh? Like, you want to have a baby? That's pretty social.
And
Decided to go
express my
flirtations on him, and then one thing led to the next. He's a rapper, a local rapper though. He's still building his career. He also does like some hustling on the side
What is this hustling?
as well.
Does he cut hair?
Well, I Googled a few things of like kind of what he
Why are you Googling what your ex does?
does.
I mean,
So
I
he
guess.
goes to the grocery store and purchases like a lot of the same type of items. Typically, like there's a lot of baking soda.
Oh no.
He's
on
making
drugs.
drugs.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
And
So
so
he's a baker.
I would say
So he's
so.
a baker.
Yeah.
He's a baker. Yeah, he
Okay.
bakes.
Pretty popular
Yeah.
around the community too.
Oh, okay. So he's active in the community.
Active. She knows. She knows
All
exactly.
right. All right.
Always selling out of his pastries. So
All right.
yeah.
Continue.
He's going to be at guideline maximum of his child support in about 10 seconds here.
yeah, so he's disrespectful. First of all,
Why is he not in the court? Did
Yeah.
he no-showed for court today?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
Yeah.
because I saw him a couple weeks ago with another chick up the block.
Oh, is
Up
he
the
pimping?
block. So do they live near each other so she can just...
I guess so.
Or
He's
is
not even
she-
take care of
or
his
is she
kids.
stalking him?
And he's not even taking care of his kids, but he has time to wine and dine her and all of this. And all I'm asking is that he
He's whining. What kind of wine? Boone's Farm?
just does his part for Rolls and Royce.
Does he have any other children outside of Rose and Royce? Okay. How many other
I
children?
found out about them after the fact, but he does.
Oh, what a surprise.
And how old are Rose and Royce? I don't think I asked
They're
you that.
2 years old.
2 years old.
All right. And these other children, are they older, younger?
Both. He's got 2 older and 1 younger.
2 older. When was the last time you seen him?
Apparently, it's like last week.
Oh, I saw him a couple weeks ago when he was with old girl.
Did you
Good old girl.
have him served at that time? Because I do see a return here where
Oh, he was served, so he just didn't show. You got to always have service. If she didn't have him served, this court hearing ain't proceeding.
he was served.
He was served a week prior to that. I'm not sure why he's not here, but I do know that he got the
I mean, he's not paying his child support. He's not showing up to court. By the way, if you ever get papers, it's a good idea to show up to court because
Oh yeah,
here's what's about to happen.
you're gonna make the
Okay.
judge mad.
All right. So did you want me to look at that? What you did on the Google search?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Objection. Hearsay. Probably can't come in.
It's a lot in here.
But
And
he's
I
not there to object, so it's coming in.
appreciate you being prepared and you have it all tabbed and everything for
Okay, that's true. Judges do appreciate when
Yep.
litigants or their attorneys come prepared. You want to come overly prepared to court. So
good.
we can appreciate that. Also, Judge Vonda made a remark that we got a lot here, and judges don't like to be bombarded with a
Depends.
lot of irrelevant
They don't like anything that's irrelevant.
extra type of evidence. You want to be clear. You want to be concise.
That is true.
You really just have to drive home the one point that you need the judge to see. You don't want to confuse the judge. They're humans too.
So baking, how much do you think he makes
Oh, I can't wait to see how much he makes.
on a monthly basis?
I would love to find out because
Oh, no. Speculate. Go ahead. He's not there. You can. Go ahead. Just say. I think he
Jeez.
makes about 50 grand a month.
Yeah.
I keep hearing different answers.
Put it on him to have to appeal this, and he didn't show up. So, and in Texas, it doesn't matter. If you make more in Texas than $9,200 a month, then your child support is capped. It doesn't make the difference whether you make 92 or whether you make 15,000. It's going to be the same amount.
Well, what's funny is here is she should have an attorney.
She should have an attorney.
Girl, you don't show up to child support court not knowing how much your
I mean, sometimes you do because you can't
Sometimes you
figure it
don't
out.
know.
Sometimes you don't know.
Yeah.
baby's father makes.
According to him,
But again, she should have said, well, I think he's making with his pastries. I mean, she can speculate. Nobody's there to
he's
object.
That
always
girl's
broke.
being a little
According
too
to him,
judgmental.
he doesn't break even. He's always owing money.
Look, I don't want any of our clients to ever do that, but occasionally it happens,
Well,
and then you're going to
what do
court
you-
to find
what
out
hap-
and compel him
Right.
to find to
What
figure out
happens
what he
if
makes.
they're hiding it too?
Well,
Like he has
It totally depends.
extracurricular activities going on.
yeah, and it depends. Sometimes you can find it, sometimes you can't. That's one of the more difficult parts.
Yeah.
And
But if he's not showing up, you can testify that according to this, he's making $20,000 a month. Or
But
here's
he-
him on internet flashing all this money, and based on that photo, I can tell there's $10,000 there, and he said he made it that day. So
Yeah.
that means he's at least making it once a month. And he's over the guidelines. Therefore, I can get for 2 kids, the guideline's $2,100 a
Yeah,
month.
if he's doing that though. I mean, he's got 2 jobs that might be being paid under the table. Being
Yeah.
a rapper, probably getting paid under the table. And then, if he's dealing drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
but I know that to be a lie because he's wine and dining this woman.
How do you know he's whining and dining her? Did he have to wine and dine you after the show? I think you probably put out for free. I'm just speculating here, but
Okay, this is true.
In what amounts? Because all you provided me were things that you pulled off of Google. It's not necessarily anything scholarly, not anything that is grounded in fact or even
yeah, we need some facts about how much he's making.
in law. It's just things you pulled off Google, and I see there are some pictures from an Instagram page.
You guys, social media, that's the first thing I look at.
Absolutely. A lot of times, it's the only place you can find him. And,
Yeah.
and Googling people, a lot of times people aren't on Google, but they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're on Tinder, they're on Twitter, they're on all kinds of stuff.
When I get a new case, I'm instantly going to your Facebook. I'm instantly going to your Instagram. I'm seeing what you portray to people and what you put out to the world.
So I would assume about 20K weekly is what he brings in.
All right. Now she's given a good number, and at 20K weekly, that probably gives her enough headroom to well, it should if she believes it, but I want to see what more information she digs for.
Yeah.
All right.
Just based on, all of the stunting on the gram.
Okay. So
What is stunting on the ground?
he's one of those. He's on social media. Okay. Well, here's the thing. You said he makes about how much from his regular job?
60K.
Okay, so she can at least base it off of that.
Right.
60K. All right. So here's
And then if he was there, he'd go, how do you know how much I make? And you could easily bust this, but he's not there to even defend himself.
The thing. Yes, in some circumstances, you can order that people pay child support based on what you believe.
But she's about not to do it because she doesn't believe that there's enough evidence there that she provided.
Is what they're making. However, the issue here is that you're basing it on an assumption.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I can respect that statement by the judge here. That is true, that in situations where you can prove that the person that's
Exactly.
supposed to be paying child support is intentionally underemployed,
Which we did a video about before. You should check that one out. It's great.
we can ask the judge, and the law provides that the judge order that person to pay in accordance with what they should be making or what that person's earning potential is.
And
But you just don't have enough.
I can't make someone pay child support based on an assumption.
That's correct.
Even if his caption says like how much money he's got.
Now, if here's the thing about these captions. So with the captions, that's a statement. That's hearsay, but he's not there to object to it.
Right.
And a hearsay exception that because it's an admission against a party opponent.
Right.
He admitted it himself in that caption. That can be used against him.
Well, and here's the thing about these captions, and that's why I said, is he one of those? Because people stunt and put certain things on social media. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what it is.
And it also doesn't necessarily mean it is not, but let's see where this goes.
Like he said here, just made 5 bands. Like you really can't tell just by looking at these posts.
And that's not particularly true.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with it a little bit too. Again, if I was there arguing, I could probably make this point and get this point across the finish line, even to Judge Bailey, because he's making 5 bands. Okay, depends. What does that picture show? 5 bands of what? And if it's a wad of money, and if I can figure out and count how much money that is, and I go, yeah, he did that. He did this show. Every time he does a show, here's how many people that are attending. And so if he's getting paid that much for this show, here's his show schedule. He's got 4 shows here. It looks like he's making $20,000 a week here locally. I think that would be sufficient.
Right.
You know, you might not have someone that's having consistent work and they're a consistent salary.
Again, exactly. That's why if I can show on that show he made that much money, then I can say, well, he made $60,000, and if it shows how much money was in there, if I can figure out how much are in those bands or how much money that was, then I can show, all right, he made $5,000 or $20,000 for that one show. And then I go, here's his show schedule. Here's how many people were in attendance at that show that he made $20,000 for. Here's how many people are in attendance at all these other shows. You can assume that he's making the same amount of money at each one of these shows, because who makes money at one show and then does similar shows and doesn't make any money for?
Right.
And it's hard to say. Maybe that's gross income and it costs him that much to do it, and he's not really, quote unquote, making profit, but he didn't show up. That's on him.
Yeah.
And for you, all you're trying to do is get it up to where you can prove that he makes more than $9,200 in a month. And then you're at guideline maximum. She gets $2,100 a month in Texas for 2 kids.
Right.
I would be able to get there.
Employee. You could have people that are working odd end jobs and gaining $5K here, $1K here, $100 here.
Exactly. That's why you got to show his schedule.
Whatever your income is, and from whatever source and however consistent it is, it's all included in a child support calculation. So
That is also true.
don't agree with that one, Judge Vonda B.
It just says it for that one caption.
Yet, if it's just that one caption, you need more. You've got to put this together. That's what she was talking about
Does
earlier.
that make sense? Like if you had something to show me that was more concrete on a consistent basis,
Exactly.
You know
maybe
their date stamp?
I agree. That's what I just explained. We need something legitimate here to show
Exactly.
the judge.
Because it's like every 3 or 4 days he's making posts like that.
Then show me hundreds of them from every
Right.
3 or 4 days
Right.
over the past year. If it's every 3 or 4 days, then you have 100 per year,
Yeah.
because there's 365
That
days
should
a
have
year.
been all her evidence.
Exactly.
but that one caption is the only one that I'm seeing that says any mention of an actual dollar amount.
And the other thing is, though, that's why you got to pull his tour schedule. That's why you got to put all this together. And these are things that people just don't think of on their own to put together. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. This is why when you're working with an attorney, you got to work with them. It's the two of you talking about this and getting all this stuff done, as opposed to you figuring out and learning what the judge needs in court when it's too late.
You know what I mean? I mean, he was served to be here today. So he knows he was supposed to be here. So we can go ahead and place him on child support to ensure that you do start receiving some child.
That's true. That's
Absolutely.
true. That's why you make sure you give proper notice of a lawsuit
Because if you didn't, couldn't do anything.
to someone you're suing. The father in this instance, he didn't show up to court on the day that he was noticed to be at court. The judge can take a default judgment against him.
And that's what's happening. But too many people, and in lawyers included, when they're getting a default, they just do this basic prove up. No, you prove your whole case. You have the trial. You take your time. Some people think, oh, it's a default. It's just like going in and doing an agreement. It's not. An agreement you can do in 2 minutes. On a default, I've had a default where I took at least an hour where I was putting on evidence after evidence after evidence. And it was fast. Nobody's objecting. I'm getting everything into the record. And the judge is able to consider it. But you put in all your evidence, because on the record, if they appeal, you have to show, no, this was entered into evidence. This was entered into evidence. Here's what the testimony was. The testimony supported each of these documents. And you get all of your evidence in that proves the case. And that makes it lock solid.
Right.
But most of the time, these default judgments, they just get this kind of lackadaisical, and they just don't prove up their case, and the default just gets overturned very easily,
Right.
As opposed to locking in and doing it right.
Got the evidence she thought she needed to make orders, and she can make orders here today without the father being there.
Child support for the children. But the additional amount, we can't do that unless you come back and say, you know, he's making this much more, and you actually get something a little bit more concrete.
Yep.
Health insurance. Who carries the children on health insurance?
I do.
This is another important aspect.
So yeah, child support, health insurance. Who pays for the health insurance? She can add on the price of the health
The
insurance.
child support, you guys. Not
to
only are
this
you
order.
having to pay cash money every month, we
Yep.
got to figure out how do we get these kiddos insured with medical and dental insurance.
Okay, how much is your health
requirement in the
insurance?
state of Texas.
150
Is that for both children or just
for both.
are you
The other thing you have to do, yes, are you included in that? Because a lot of times they know it's this, and then you figure out, well, who's included, parents and child. You got to know the proportion, so you got to have that evidence.
included
with you
in
too.
that?
No.
Okay, $150. And you said he has 5 children total.
Correct.
So we're going to
Ooh, I don't know. She might not walk
5
out of there
children,
with too
so
much.
that would take her down. It's not 2,100 because there's a formula. For one child, it's 20%. For 2 children, it's 25%. But for every other child that he's got, it decreases out. And I have to look at a chart for that. It's less than the 2,100.
she's
It's
about
less
to
than
tell us.
25%. Yeah.
He only
We'll
makes
find out right
60K. She can only base child support off 60K, and
Yep.
that's starting to get nickel and dime pretty quickly here.
base that off of 15%.
15%.
Do you know if he has access to private health insurance?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well,
Maybe.
if he did and he could have gotten it cheaper, again, he's lost out by
You don't show
not
up
showing
asking
to
for
court.
child support, and you don't know the situation with health insurance or how
You'd be surprised how many people
much
do,
it's
though.
going to cost to cover your children. You know, we got to get realistic here, people. You come to court prepared.
The reason I ask, because if he does, then he can decide after he gets this paperwork today that he wants to come back to court and show the court proof of his
he ain't
actual
doing all that.
income, proof of health.
It sounds like he probably won't, but we'll see. And he's got a deal right here. He's not going to come back at 60K if he's making an additional $20,000 a week.
yeah.
And I'm surprised if he's making 60K even at the old job, because why would he keep his old job if he's making $20,000 a week as a rapper? Why would he not go all in and being a rapper? You want to do $80,000, but you're going to make 86 by working full time, or you're going to work and make $80,000 a month for doing one show every 3 days versus you're going to make 86 for doing a show every 3 days and having to hold down a 40-hour a week job. It's just not realistic.
Yeah.
So is he going to come in and care about any of this, making that much? No, he's not. And he's going to try and be doing everything possible to prevent her from finding out how much he actually does make.
Right.
Insurance and try to get it cheaper.
Yeah, he's not doing all that.
Okay, that's very true, and that you see that a lot of times. If you're an individual who has the nerve to ignore a lawsuit and you don't even want to show up to court,
I mean, we beat this dead horse. Show up to court.
I can guarantee you that person's not going to have the energy or the know-how or the want to go and fight an order that's put into place afterwards. The person's just like an ostrich with
Yeah, which is not the right thing to do. Come on. And if somebody's trying to serve you papers, take the papers. They're for your benefit. They're trying to give them to you. All you're doing is slightly annoying the process server and then delaying kind of, sort of. But they're going to get a default judgment against you as if, just like this guy, he didn't show up to court. Just because you don't take the papers. Now you don't even know what court to show up for and know what they're suing you for. Take the papers. You know how you see that in TV where they avoid and don't take the papers? Take the papers.
Their head in the sand. They're ignoring it. They're just brushing life's problems away. And one thing with child support is the state is going to make you pay no matter what. No.
Exactly. It's the most collectible thing in Texas that there is.
And you will go to jail.
They can put you in jail. That's the debtor's prison is for child support.
If ands or buts, are they going to throw your in jail?
Yep.
Anybody?
He didn't even bother to show up today.
Well, he didn't. I mean, obviously, I'm looking at an empty chair, but you'll be surprised. Some people do come back, especially
Because if they get really screwed, sometimes they will come back.
when you start speaking about money, okay?
That's true, Judge Vonda B. A lot of these people, unfortunately, are only money motivated when it comes to a court order. Sometimes it awakens a different beast, unfortunately.
Yep, happens.
Sometimes parents are only money motivated.
Giving him credit for the other 3 children that he has, his child support would be based on 15% of his income.
If I didn't know for sure that those kids were his, and if I didn't know that he's paying child support and financially obligated, if he's not financially obligated to support those kids, then she shouldn't be giving him the reduction. Again, that's something else that she should have been better prepared
provided
for.
a birth certificate that had him as the dad listed, or
Maybe.
you have to, right?
Well, it depends.
Is a judge going to order child support to a father if they're not on the birth certificate?
No. So this would have to have been one where they're either already adjudicated parentage or showed a birth certificate. So that part of this video is
You understand
missing.
what I mean by that?
Yes.
Okay. So do you have any questions about that? Is that a no?
Just maybe what the dollar amount is.
Okay. Oh, I was getting to that.
Oh, okay.
I was getting to that. Okay. So based on 15% of his gross income, based on $60,000 a year, is $5,000. His net is $4,120.
Usually
net income in Texas.
You guys, when we're talking about child support here, it's based off of your net monthly resources. We all make a gross amount, and then unfortunately, taxes get taken out.
The government steals it. That's called taxes.
After those federal taxes are taken out, that's the pot of money we're talking about that we're basing this child.
It depends on every state is different, but in Texas, yes, and there's no state income tax. Otherwise, that would have come off the top too.
Support off of. So it's important to know how much you're making, but how much do you bring home? Throwing a bunch into a 401k, the judges don't care about that.
Yeah, 401k doesn't count.
That's great and all if you want to build your retirement, but that's not taken into consideration here when we're pulling a percentage of your income. You're taking care of your children first, above all else.
17 cents. 15% of that would be $618 plus
So she's down. Yep, plus the reimbursement.
the $150 reimbursement brings it to $768 per month, and that's for both kids. Why did you look like that? You look like you
that
went
was
down.
for each kid.
No,
No. Oh, you wish, but no.
it's based on his income. Each kid would
And that's why you had to prove his income better than you did.
well exceed
I'm gonna
what
find
it
out the
is.
rest of his income because I know.
Well, I mean, if you find it out and you bring something in here, it's credible, it's something that I can actually quantify. Like if you bring in receipts of, when I say receipts, I'm talking about the things that you brought in already
I would be able to find it. If he's actually making that money, I would be able to find it.
on Instagram, and it's showing something consistent. Like I'm making $5,000 every 2 weeks.
The other thing that you can do is you can start subpoenaing him and other people around him, his manager. You can subpoena and get his bank statements if there are any. You can hire a detective to follow him and watch and see if he gets paid. There's a number of different ways that you can do this to figure out how much money he's actually got. You can also see what car is he driving, where did he buy that car, and
Where's he living?
Where's
What
he
is
living?
Dressing like?
Yep,
What is he wearing?
Yep.
Designer clothes.
yep.
Yeah.
And you can track all that stuff down, and you can go, how did he buy his car? Oh, it turns out he paid $60,000 for a car cash. You know, things like that.
Yep.
So do you have any questions about anything?
No.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing further, then you're dismissed.
Thank you.
You guys, if only it was that easy. But you know what? I like Judge Vonda B. She's doing what's right for these kids, and that's what child support court is about.
Yeah, I like Judge Vonda B too. Actually, when she was doing this, she was an attorney at the time and doing this as an illustration for video purposes, entertainment, educational purposes. But now she's actually a judge, and she's excellent. She is absolutely phenomenal, and some of the stuff that she's doing in the Dallas courts are amazing. I really like her as a judge so far. I'm privileged to be able to practice in her court. It's awesome. She's a great person, and this is the Lawyer Dana Show.